Well, good evening. Welcome to another edition of Swerve with me. This is season three, is the second episode of the season. I'm Miranda Innes, and I'm always delighted to have an opportunity to come before you. This is a show where we have adult conversations for mature audiences only, and we speak to people who are not afraid to show their scars and to speak their truth. So as you come in, make sure you tag somebody. I'm waiting for my guest tonight, who is someone that is has a very fascinating story to tell. So I can't wait for you to meet her and to hear her story. I have never, ever heard a story like this one before. So my guest tonight is Apostle Diannah Bullard. I'm waiting for her to come in, but it is such a fascinating story that I'm still trying to wrap my mind around what I call the adventures of Apostle Diana because it's unlike anything I've ever heard before. So I wanted to come in to give people a chance a little early to come on in as I wait for her to come in. But believe you me, this story is one that I would classify as definitely unusual, definitely divinely inspired because of some supernatural things that I believe happened that I have not ever heard happened with anybody before. And so we're going to be very, very interesting. It's going to be interesting to hear what Apostle Diana Bullard has to say. She was, in fact, born and raised in Nassau, Bahamas, and relocated to Grand Bahama a little later in her life. And now she lives in San Antonio, Texas. And so tag somebody, let them know Swerve is on, and we want to get get started. Tag somebody, let them know we're on. She is about to come in a couple of minutes. I'm hoping she doesn't have technical difficulties. But this is the show that she wanted to do, and she's one of those persons that contacted me and said to me, Miranda, I am ready to share my story. And so if she was ready to share a story, then I was ready to have her on this platform so she would have the opportunity to share a story. So we're in for an interesting ride. We're still 8 minutes out. And so please tag somebody and let them know. Tag some more people. Let them know that we're on and we're waiting for Apostle Diana Bullitt to come on. I want to say thank you to all of those persons who would have tuned in last week to our season premiere, all of the inbox box messages that were so very encouraging. I thank you so much for your constant support and the push in doing what I do, and that is to allow people to share their stories. And I got to tell you, it's not easy when people sit up and they open up to share their personal stories. It's a place of vulnerability. You don't know what people are going to think about you after you've shared your story, if it matters to you. You don't know if people are going to judge you. And so the people that come and you will see in the weeks and months ahead are people who have overcome. And they're at a place in their life where they're bold enough, confident enough, and assured enough that it's time to share their stories because the whole purpose of sharing the story is that someone else would be encouraged and blessed to do the same, to help somebody else to go through, to help somebody else to overcome, to help somebody else to be victorious. And so you'll be seeing men and women with some amazing stories that some may sound familiar, some may be very unfamiliar, but the whole thing that all of these guests will have in common is the fact that they are overcomers and they are ready and willing to open up a part of their life that has been so closed off for so long. So, good night to my Aunt Liz. Thanks for watching. Good night to those of you who are out there. Make sure I tag someone, as I said, as I wait for my guest tonight. I don't know what's going on with her, but it's going to be an extremely fascinating show. I can't even like underestimate or overemphasize that because it is something that I literally have never ever heard before. So thanks again to all of those who have been sending inbox messages to encourage uh, this show and to even recommend. Thanks for all the people who have recommended persons to become guests. I have an amazing lineup. I've been talking to people probably every day, uh, doing pre-interviews just to find out the stories that we want to bring to you, stories of integrity, stories of hope, stories of truth, just stories to make you understand that whatever you have been through, whatever you are going through, and whatever you will go through, you are never alone. There's always been someone who has passed that way before, and there's always someone that you can seek advice from. There's always someone that you can call on to share and to open up in a place where you wouldn't be judged. Because you know, a lot of times as people in the church, when people talk and share their stories or their testimonies, people run and sit in seats of judgment, or they go and share things that they shouldn't necessarily share with other people. But when people come on this platform, these are people who are over it already, and they are willing and able to commit and to share whatever it is that they are going through. So, like I said, I'm sitting here waiting for this guest. So we'll see what happens in the next few minutes. I'm looking right now to find out what's going on with her because it's time. It's time for the show, and we've been definitely communicating with her throughout the day. So just bear with me. But good night to those whoever's on. Thanks again, and like I said, tag somebody and let us know. I don't know if my guest is having difficulty because I'm calling her, and right now she's actually not responding. So this is pretty interesting. I'm not sure what's happening to her, but we're going to stick with it for a couple of more minutes. And if she doesn't come on, then we'll make a decision because I'm definitely not going to be rambling on all night. But thanks for sticking with me and seeing how this comes through. I will let you know exactly what's happening. She's not answering, and I hope she's okay. I hope she's doing all right because it would be unfortunate if something is not well with her. But yeah, so um, we have been in this spot before where guests don't show up, and that's why I like to interview several people so that I have alternatives to always switch and swap. Because these things happen when you're going live, and you can't predict exactly what's going to happen or when it's going to happen. And okay, she still has not responded to that particular call. So tell you what, I'm going to sign off, and if I can find her, I will come back. So I'm going to sign off for a minute, but I'll be back once I find her. So thanks for tuning in.